Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here for another Freedom Minute update, and this one's a little bit interesting, and it regards Egypt. So, as this article says, Egypt says 4,400-year-old tomb discovered outside of Cairo. Now, this is a rather interesting story. It is believed to have been owned by Hetpet or belonged to Hetpet, a woman known to be close to 5th dynasty royals in Egypt. The tomb discovered was made of mud brick and, as is usual in ancient Egyptian tombs, was full of great artistry to bring the mummies to their next life. Hetpet is thought to have other tombs in Giza's western necropolis. So this is an interesting story. But then in other news that's somewhat similar, an ancient Egyptian cemetery with 40 mummies and a necklace saying Happy New Year was found along with 1,000 statues in the Nile Valley this month. This is just south of Cairo. As you can see, there's images here. Definitely out of the ordinary. And then it's just there's always so much more to the story, folks. You know how I talk about government intervention and daily life and everything. Well, this is not any different. This is another example of, and I'm going to go into this right away, how the Egyptian government blocks proper excavation. Only what they want to be found is uncovered. We can thank tools like Dr. Zahi Hawass for that. Chambers were recently discovered in the Great Pyramid of Egypt, something I'm also going to be doing further reports on soon. Okay, so what was that, an inert gas or something? No real investigation is happening. In fact, Hawass claims they already knew about the chamber, but that they're not interested. And, of course, geologists have proven that there was water erosion around the Sphinx, proving it's closer to 12,000 years old rather than 4,500 years old, when the Sahara was covered in jungle following an ice age. And you can see a few more examples of that here. It's absolutely crazy. People aren't aware of how old the pyramids and the surrounding area really is, but I will be doing further reports into that in the future. Moving on to the next, recently discovered Göbekli Tepe shows vast architectural knowledge around 12,000 years ago too, 6,000 years earlier than the history books claim. So there's another example of something that the government seems to be hiding because they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to look into it, they don't want to excavate. And of course, Cairo is quickly expanding and destroying ancient architecture. And then there's also evidence of exploded pyramids. So how do you explode a pyramid again in ancient times? YouTube channel Bright Insight did an excellent report on this. And then there's ancient monolithic monuments. This is a crazy one that have been used as garbage dumps near Cairo and covered by sand. Why would the government use these amazing architectural marvels? Look at the rock there. Look how heavy that rock is. Look at the artistry. But, of course, the government uses it as a garbage dump. Seem reasonable, right? No, it isn't reasonable at all. It makes no sense. So we are going to continue to report on this because it makes absolutely no sense. It's time that we start asking what's really going on and what's being covered up, which we'll be reporting on more in depth in the future. Again, check out Bright Insight on YouTube. He does incredible work really looking into this. Again, this is something that I kind of came out of, looking at videos half asleep while sick. Recently, laying in front of my computer. I was trying to get over a cold, and I just started clicking on suggested videos, and I learned all this stuff. It's amazing because I love architecture, I love engineering, and I went to school for it many years ago, and this is not the kind of stuff you learn about, folks. There is a history to the world that we aren't being told regarding Egypt and Peru and other places around the world. I'm not saying aliens. No one's saying aliens here. I'm just saying there's questions, and the government seems to be covering it up, and there's always a reason for the government to be covering it up. Who benefits? Cui bono? We have to look into this. Was there an ancient cataclysm? Was a pyramid used as a power center? Folks, imagine this for a second. So for years and years and years, there's metal and plastic objects. And then after, let's say 10,000 years, what's left? Well, only really the rock structures. Everything else is turned into dirt. Again, a good reason to look into this. Maybe there's a bit more to ancient history than we're told, and all we have left are the rock structures. Just open your mind for a second. No matter how crazy something sounds, when the government's covering something up, it's worth looking into. So again, for another Freedom Minute update, thanks for joining us. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.